Hello everyone, welcome back to Shadows of the Old World. This is one of those stories that doesn't rush, it creeps in slowly, like fog rolling off a river at dusk. The man who lived it, a guitarist in a small indie band, still can't talk about it without his voice dropping to a whisper. It happened 10 years ago, but some nights, he says, it feels like it never ended. There were 9 people in total, a tight-knit group from London, young, broke, passionate. They played moody post-rock, long instrumental passages, reverb-heavy guitars, lyrics about loneliness and roads that lead nowhere. They weren't big, but they had a small, devoted following. Every summer, they got 1 or 2 decent gigs outside the city. This time, it was a riverside music festival in a quiet market town along the Thames, the kind of place where the river is wide and slow, the streets are cobbled, and the buildings are mostly Victorian red brick with tall sash windows that look like they haven't been cleaned in decades. The receptionist, a thin woman in her late 50s with grey hair pinned tightly, handed them 4 keys. "Only 4 rooms available," she said. "They're on different floors. The 6th floor room has the best view of the river. The others, well, they're fine."
The rooms were scattered. 3rd floor, partial view of the rear car park. 4th floor, side view of the river. 6th floor, full floor-to-ceiling sliding glass doors opening onto a private balcony directly over the Thames. 7th floor, no river view, just rooftops and chimneys. James, the lead guitarist and unofficial leader, took the 6th floor room without hesitation. "I drove the van the whole way," he said. "I want to wake up to water." No one argued. The drummer, Mark, and bassist took the 3rd. The lead singer, Tom, and his girlfriend, Lily, took the 4th. The keyboard player and roadie took the 7th. James carried his guitar case up the narrow staircase. The lift was out of order. Maintenance, the receptionist said. The hallway on the 6th floor was dimly lit. Only every other wall sconce worked. Carpet worn thin in the center, doors painted dark green, brass numbers tarnished. He unlocked room 612. The door opened with a soft creak. Inside, high ceiling, dark oak paneling, a 4-poster bed with faded floral canopy curtains, an antique dresser with a cloudy mirror, and a large CRT television on a wooden stand. The balcony doors dominated one wall. Tall, sliding glass panels framed in black iron, white lace curtains tied back with tasseled cords. The smell hit him first. Not bad, but wrong. Damp river air mixed with old lavender soap and something sharper, like copper pennies left in a damp pocket too long. He set his bag down. The carpet was thick, muffling his footsteps. He walked to the balcony doors and slid them open. Cool evening air rushed in. The Thames below was wide, dark, and glassy. Moonlight reflected off the water in silver streaks. A willow tree on the far bank leaned over the river like it was listening. He closed the doors again, the latch was stiff, and turned on the TV. Static hissed, then settled on a classical music channel. He left it playing softly while he showered. The bathroom was small, tiled in cracked white porcelain. clawfoot tub, frosted glass door. He ran hot water, steam rising. While shampooing, he heard the TV change channels from orchestral strings to a low, droning film score. He laughed under his breath. Cold set, probably has a short circuit. He finished, wrapped a towel around his waist, and came out. The TV was back on music. He shrugged, dressed in jeans and a black hoodie, and lay on the bed scrolling through setlist notes on his phone.
Around 7:30 p.m., he heard it. A slow, deliberate scraping, fabric dragging across glass. He sat up. The left balcony curtain had slid open about 18 inches. Moonlight cut a pale stripe across the carpet. He stared. The doors were latched. He was sure. He got up, walked over, and pulled the curtain closed. The cord felt cold. He checked the latch again, secure. He returned to the bed, but now he couldn't relax. Every few minutes he glanced at the curtains. They stayed still. He left for the gig at 7:45 p.m. The festival was a short walk, fairy lights in the trees, smell of grilled sausages, distant guitar feedback. They played well. The crowd was small but appreciative. They finished around 10 p.m., had a few pints with the organisers, then walked back to the inn around 11:15 p.m. James entered his room. The smell was stronger now, the metallic note sharper. He turned on the bedside lamp. The curtains were still closed. He exhaled, kicked off his shoes, and lay back. The TV was off. He didn't turn it on. He tried to sleep. At 11:58 p.m., the scraping came again, slower, more deliberate. Both curtains parted in the middle, not just one side. Moonlight flooded the room. James sat bolt upright. On the balcony, just beyond the glass, stood a woman. Pale skin, long dark hair hanging limp, white dress or nightgown, fluttering slightly in the breeze. She was facing the river, back to him. His mouth went dry. "Hey," he whispered. No response. He stood up slowly. "Excuse me, are you all right?" She didn't move. Then, very slowly, she turned her head. Not her body, just her head. Too far. An impossible angle. Her face was in shadow, but he saw pale skin and eyes that caught the moonlight like glass. James's heart slammed against his ribs. She lifted one foot onto the balcony railing, then the other. She balanced there for a second, arms out like she was about to dive. And she jumped. James screamed. He ran to the doors, fumbled the latch, threw them open. He leaned over the railing. Below? Nothing. No body on the grass, no splash in the river, just empty moonlight and the slow current of the Thames. He stood there shaking for what felt like hours. Then he backed inside, slammed the doors, locked them, and sat on the bed with every light on until dawn. He didn't sleep again that night.
He didn't sleep. He sat on the edge of the bed with every lamp on, staring at the balcony doors until the sky turned grey. The curtains stayed closed after he slammed them shut, but the smell lingered. That sharp, metallic tang mixed with river damp and old lavender. It clung to his clothes, to his skin. He could still taste it on his tongue. At dawn, he left the room without showering. He went straight to the lobby. Mark, the drummer, was already there, sitting on a worn leather sofa, elbows on knees, staring at the floor. His face was grey, bags under his eyes, hands shaking slightly as he held a cup of tea he hadn't touched. "Mate," James said quietly. Mark looked up. His voice was hoarse. "Something happened in my room last night too." James sat beside him. "Tell me." Mark swallowed. "I heard curtains moving, scraping, like someone pulling them slowly. I woke up, looked over. The right panel was open about a foot, moonlight coming in. And there she was, standing on the balcony. Same woman you described. Pale, hair down her back, white dress. She just stood there for a second. Then she climbed the railing and jumped." Mark's voice cracked. "I ran to the doors, opened them, looked down. Nothing, not a sound, not even ripples in the water. I thought I was losing my mind. I sat with the lights on until morning." James felt cold sweat break out across his back. "I saw the exact same thing," he whispered. They stared at each other in silence. Neither laughed it off. Neither said it was a dream. They decided to wake the others. Tom, the lead singer, and Lily were already up, sitting in the small breakfast room. Lily's eyes were red from crying. She clutched a mug of coffee like it was a lifeline. Tom looked exhausted. "We saw her too," he said before anyone spoke. Lily nodded. "She was on our balcony, just standing, looking at the river. Then she jumped. I screamed. Tom ran out. Nothing below. I thought maybe the festival lights were playing tricks, but now you're saying the same thing?"
The keyboard player and roadie joined them from the 7th floor. The keyboard player spoke first. "My exhaust fan, that old vent grill above the bathroom, it started spinning by itself, then stopped. Flap didn't close. I looked up, and there were eyes looking back through the grill. From outside. Impossible. No ladder, no balcony up there. Just eyes, staring. I turned the light on. Gone, but I swear they were there." No one spoke for a long minute. The clink of cutlery from the kitchen sounded too loud. The smell of toast and coffee felt wrong in the air. James finally broke the silence. "We can't stay here tonight. We swap rooms. Everyone moves to the 4th floor room. It's the only one no one's reported anything in yet. We push the beds together. Lights on all night. We leave at dawn tomorrow." No one argued. They spent the day avoiding their rooms. They walked the town, sat by the river, tried to act normal, but every time someone looked up at the 6th floor balcony, the one with the best view, they felt watched. Evening came. They gathered in the 4th floor room, Tom and Lily's original room. 2 double beds, they pushed them together. Extra blankets from the wardrobe, all lights on. Bedside lamps, overhead, even the bathroom light with the door open. They sat in a circle on the beds, drinking cheap wine from the minibar, trying to laugh about it. But the laughter died quickly. Around 11:45 p.m., the first sound came. A soft scraping, fabric on glass. They all froze. The balcony curtains, heavy white lace, moved. Just the left panel at first, slowly, deliberately, about a foot. Moonlight sliced across the carpet. Lily whispered, "It's happening again." James stood up. "It's just wind, old building, drafts." But his voice shook. The right panel moved next, another foot. then both together, sliding wider. 2 feet, 3. The doors were latched, no wind strong enough to move them like that. Mark whispered, "Look!" On the balcony, just beyond the glass, long strands of dark hair drifted in on the breeze. One, then another, then more, wet, black, landing softly on the carpet like spilled ink. Tom stood. "There's no one out there." He walked to the doors, reached for the latch. Before he touched it, the curtains flew fully open as if yanked by invisible hands. Moonlight flooded the room, and there she was again, the woman, standing on the balcony railing. Back to them, hair hanging down her back like a veil, white dress fluttering. Lily screamed. The woman didn't turn. She simply stepped forward, off the railing. No hesitation. She dropped. They rushed to the balcony. Doors flew open. They leaned out. Nothing below. No body, no splash. Just the black river flowing on. But on the carpet inside the room, more hair. Dozens of strands now. Wet, cold, as if freshly washed. They slammed the doors, locked them, pushed a chair against them, sat in the middle of the pushed-together beds, lights blazing. No one slept. Around 2:30 a.m., the exhaust fan in the bathroom started. Low hum, then louder, then stopped. The flap didn't close. They looked up. Eyes stared back through the grill. Human eyes, unblinking, from outside. Impossible height, no ladder, no balcony, just eyes in the dark. Mark whispered, "They're watching us." The fan started again. The eyes vanished, but the hair on the carpet kept coming, strand by strand, drifting in under the balcony doors like smoke. They stayed like that until sunrise, huddled, silent, lights on, waiting for dawn. When the first grey light came through the curtains, they packed in silence, checked out without speaking to the receptionist, drove away without looking back. None of them ever returned to that town. None of them ever played a riverside gig again. But James still finds long dark hairs on his pillow some nights, and sometimes, when he closes his eyes, he hears curtains sliding open in an empty room. James returned to London the next day. The band broke up quietly a few months later, not because of fights or money, but because none of them could look at each other without remembering that night. They never spoke of it again in public. But James never really left the inn behind. At first, the changes were small. He started keeping his bedroom curtains closed at all times, even during the day. Heavy blackout fabric, no gaps. He told himself it was because London light bothered him when he tried to sleep after late gigs, but deep down he knew why. Every time he saw lace or thin white fabric move in a breeze, his stomach dropped. Then came the hair. Long, dark strands, wet, cold, smelling faintly of river water and old lavender, appearing on his pillow. 1 or 2 at first. He thought maybe a friend had stayed over, but no one had. He lived alone. He changed pillowcases every night. The hair kept coming, sometimes only a few strands, sometimes dozens, tangled, damp, as if freshly washed and left to dry on his bed while he slept. He began sleeping with the lights on, all of them, bedside lamp, overhead bathroom light with the door cracked. He told himself it helped with nightmares, but the nightmares came anyway. In the dreams, he was always back in room 612. The balcony doors were open, curtains billowing. The woman stood outside, not on the railing this time, but floating just beyond the glass. Her head turned slowly, too slowly, until her face was fully toward him. No eyes, just dark sockets, but he could feel her watching. Then she drifted closer, her hand, pale, thin fingers pressed against the glass. The glass rippled like water. Her fingers passed through, cold, wet. She reached for his face. He always woke before she touched him, gasping, heart hammering, sheets soaked with sweat. But one night, almost a year later, he didn't wake in time. He opened his eyes in the dark. All lights were off. He'd sure he'd left them on. The room smelled of river mud and lavender, stronger than ever. He reached for the bedside lamp. Click, nothing. He sat up. The blackout curtains were parted, just a foot, exactly like the first night at the inn. Moonlight cut across the floor in a thin silver blade. He stared. Then he heard it. The soft scraping of fabric on glass. Not his curtains. The bathroom door, which he always kept closed, was moving, slowly sliding open. No one was touching it. He froze. From the dark rectangle of the doorway, long dark hair drifted out, floating as if underwater, strand by strand, wet, cold, landing on the carpet with faint wet sounds.
Then eyes appeared in the doorway, not in the vent this time, just eyes, floating in the dark at head height, unblinking, watching him. James whispered, "Leave me alone." The eyes didn't move. The hair kept drifting, now forming a shape, a silhouette, pale face, white dress. She stepped forward, not walking, gliding, until she was at the foot of his bed. He couldn't scream, his throat closed. She leaned over him. Hair fell across his face, cold, wet, smelling of river and decay. Her mouth opened. No sound came out, but he heard her voice inside his head, soft, calm, almost kind. "You saw me jump. You looked down. You saw nothing, but I was there. I'm still here, and now you see me." She reached out, fingers brushed his cheek, ice cold, slick with river water. He felt her press against his chest, not pushing, just resting, like she was tired, like she had been waiting a very long time. Then everything went black. He woke on the floor beside his bed, sunlight streaming through the curtains, which were wide open, no hair on the pillow, no smell, no eyes, just morning light and the distant sound of London traffic. He never saw her again, not in dreams, not in reflections, not in open curtains, but he never slept with the lights off again, and he never, ever opened a window overlooking water. Years later, he still checks the balcony doors before bed, even though he lives in a high-rise with no balcony,
Even though there is no river nearby, he still checks, because some nights, when the city is quiet, he hears it. The soft scraping of curtains in a room with no curtains, and somewhere far away the Thames keeps flowing, slow, black, waiting.